Hey, welcome back. My hobby somehow grew into a YouTube channel, and most cards I cover and test usually end up enhancing my GPU collection. From time to time, and mostly so that I can move around my lounge, I sell some cards. If you saw my recent shorts video, I decided to also let a pair of GTX690s to go. But, before they are listed and up for sale, why not test them for the last time? The GTX690 is not just any old card. Running two full 680 Kepler cores, in my GPU battle against Radeon HD 7990, it performed slower but showed surprising power efficiency and is by no means a slouch of a card. So, just how painful is this $2,000 Quad-SLI setup to use in December 2022? To answer this very important question, I've put together a X99 build. There's more than one reason behind this, and whilst I love the 6800K, the very same chip that powered my previous test bench, I really wanted to stick with my current test bench, which is running the 10850K, so that the results are comparable with many months of results. But since the i9 only supports a maximum of 16 PCI lanes, I had no choice. The SLI would not engage even though the cards were running at Gen 3 x 8 speed. And this is where the Intel HEDT platform takes over. The 6800K was clocked to 4 GHz and I used 16 gigs of 2400 MHz DDR4 Kingston HyperX memory across 4 DIMMs. Before we jump into testing, a quick word about SLI and my findings. I hope this helps someone watching this in future. I spent some time trying different drivers and found most recent version, the 474.04, to generally offer worse results and cause lots of stutter in games and frequent lockups. It was so bad I've even decided to reflash BIOS on one of the cards. On the other hand, versions 368.81 and 384.94 were most compatible and offered solid experience, well, almost. I planned on using the NVIDIA Inspector tool but ended up not needing it. All games tested today were running at 4K resolution and where possible, maxed out. A huge thanks goes to everyone who commented and suggested games for this video. Are you guys ready? Let's do it. No better way to start this tribute by playing some classic Crysis. The CryEngine was so advanced that even years after the game was released, most graphics cards were playing the catch-up. With two GTX690s pulling 570 watts, I saw good to excellent utilization, usually between 75 to 90%. With maxed out settings but no AA enabled, the average was 80 FPS, the 1% lows at 42. It is simply mind-blowing we are looking at the 2008 title. Great way to start, but let's move on. The Metro series of games were always a benchmark for how powerful your GPU was, and the REDUX version of Last Light is certainly no exception. This 2013's title is Nvidia sponsored game, and I had my hopes high. Despite this, I only saw 3 out of the 4 available GPU cores utilized. I've tried different drivers and Inspector, but no luck. Well, we work with what we have. 4K high quality preset and 16x AF enabled presented stunning visuals. The average frame rate was 62 and the 1% lows were solid too at around 41 FPS on average. When the action picked up, I saw dips to around 45 FPS, but this was of course still very playable. If only we had all 4 cores engaged, I'm pretty sure even the dips wouldn't go below 60. Witcher 3 is expected to receive a next-gen update fairly soon, for which I'm very excited. But sadly, about the only game in today's testing where I could not harness the power of a scalable link interface. The amount of times I used DDU, installed drivers, fiddled with profiles, switched between AFR, restarted the game, rebooted the test. Anyway, we carry on with the 4K theme of this video, and with high settings, I saw poor average of just 26 FPS. This is very unfortunate, despite the fact that the game is listed on Nvidia's website as supported. I kindly disagree here. Oh well. Remember, I still own 2 Fiji Radeon Pro Duos, so maybe better luck next time? Another classic title, the S.T.A.L.K.E.R Call of Pripyat. Never forget to provide a good salami to Major Degtyarev in the radiation-soaked environment. The game happily utilized all 4 GPU cores and up to high 90s most of the time, resulting in 95 FPS on average. The 1% lows at 11 are simply a reflection of the X-Ray game engine, which from time to time tends to stutter. I can't say it's a game-breaking experience, but it's rather annoying. I get it, 32-bit engine, all it sees is a 1 CPU core and 4 gigs of memory. Would you be interested in some of the awesome mods, such as the Anomaly that released for this game, maybe in the future videos? You didn't think I would leave GTA 5 out, did you? This game is so well optimized at this point, I had no trouble running it at 4K with normal texture quality and mostly high settings. I must admit, the game did freeze for a couple of seconds on 2 occasions, and I thought, right, this is it, it's going to lock up now. But then the game just carried on. Nighttime driving saw 100 FPS on average, and the gameplay was enjoyable. Up next, I was just casually sneaking around enemy camps in Far Cry 3, and to my surprise, even the snake helped to dispatch a couple of them poor bastards. Game was happy to use all GPU cores, with utilization in between 70s and high 80s. I used ultra settings and I saw 67 FPS on average, with 1% lows around 43. There is nothing to complain about, great visuals and an amazing overall experience. So far, this is going surprisingly well. What are your thoughts? About time we played a zombie game, so here is Dying Light. I did not enable app memory usage for MSI Afterburner, but I suspect the high settings at 4K were stepping over the 2GB of available VRAM per GPU, which caused heavy stutters from time to time. Dropping it down to medium resolved this problem, and I got to enjoy the zombie-infested city of Haran with 82 FPS on average. Anyone in the audience who bought the Dying Light 2? Is it worth buying, do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Let's get behind the steering wheel, and up next was the Dirt Rally. I went with an actual race instead of using the built-in benchmark, and with Ultra preset, the game engine harnessed all 4 GPU cores to around 80%. The average was a solid 86 FPS with 1% lows around 37. I saw few heavy stutters in the first seconds of the race, but then the game ran smoothly. Now I just need to improve my driving skills.
You, get out of there. You fucking bastard! Stay calm or I'll kill you.
I would hate to miss this opportunity to test GTA 4 with Quad-SLI setup. You see, this is why I keep returning to this game. Not even $2,000 worth of GPUs can push more than 44 FPS on average, with rather poor 1% lows of 5. Next game tested was 2013's Tomb Raider. This title is well optimized and I choose the actual gameplay over built-in benchmark again. And just look at the near 100% utilization. Ultra preset presented stunning visuals, and with 90 FPS on average, this is how it gets done properly.
I'll have to find something sturdier to turn it with.
Last game tested was 2016's Battlefield 1. The opening mission lands us into the harsh reality of war, where your survival is not expected. I was not sure if 4K was doable, but the pair of 690s did not disappoint. With low settings, the average was 115 FPS. Bumping the setting to medium lowered the average to 73. The 1% lows were quite low, and I honestly did not notice any significant drops even with the multiple explosions. To finish off the testing, I ran Firestrike, where I saw 25,228 points. In Heaven benchmark, with the usual preset, the pair managed 2,888 points. And it's done. This was one of the most expensive and 2 the most ridiculous GPU setups ever tested on my channel. I must say, to think that the 690s are a decade old, I was not disappointed with performance across those games we tested. Against all the odds, it somehow worked. With any prior SLI experience, I was expecting nothing but trouble, but in the end, I'm pleased. Nearly 600 watt power consumption trumps even the RTX 4090. On the flip side, With the recent cold weather in the UK, the stream of hot air blowing in my face was much welcomed. So where do we go from here? SLI is a thing of the past, and unless you already own an older Nvidia card and happen to play supported games, I can't really recommend it. But you already knew this by clicking into this video. Sometimes we overlook being reasonable or efficient, and here, this pair of 690s makes all the sense. I hope you enjoyed this blast from the past, and if you did, do me a favour, hit the subscribe button and smash the like button too. I will end this video with a question. Would you like to see more random videos on the channel? Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one.